Everybody, welcome to another edition of the Daily Bullet. My name is Paul Lathrop. I'm the Deputy Director of New Media for the Second Amendment Foundation. Joining me today, the man with the most recognizable backside in Second Amendment media, Charlie Cook.
They only say that when I walk away.
Charlie, we were both just this past weekend at Amm-Con down in Dallas. Dude, I gotta say, you did the MC duties for the afternoon sessions, even though it was late morning for Sunday. And Cheryl had to take a flight, and boy, did she pick
Yes.
the right time to go.
Yeah, she really did. So I might have the most recognizable backside in the Second Amendment media. Cheryl has the best timing in the Second Amendment media. Everything went really, really well for a day and a quarter. And that last quarter of the last half day, that is when everything went right down the toilet. And it's not anyone's fault. It's, the connection was bad. We had Sarah Cade coming in live from Minneapolis, and the audio dropped out, and we were going to put Chris Chang in her spot. And it was just a train wreck. Yeah, and I got up there just in time for a train wreck. Awesome.
I gotta say though, man, if we ever have an issue on Polite Society podcast and we need somebody to fill time, you are elected because you did not doing that.
Well, thanks. I felt like it was, yeah, it's very self-conscious. As you know, one of the things I think Amanda was talking about on Sunday morning was that you need to be able to fill space and fill time because dead air is bad. And I think I had some dead air and couldn't fill the space. So I'm like, great. Now Amanda's going to beat me up even more. Yikes.
All right, let me see what's going on. I'm gonna get the social media connected here and start getting some social media comments coming in. By the way, as usual, folks, if you want to get your comments in, Charlie and I'll bring them up and discuss them and talk about your comments as we're live. Right now, the only thing we have coming in is from John Petrolino, who says, "Good evening, John. We're going to
Good
be
evening.
discussing one of your stories here in just a minute, uh, and that's going
Good
to
evening,
be
Patriots.
let's uh, let's talk about John's story here in just a bit, Charlie. He's got a story about the uh, Alexa, shut up. Sorry.
That's control right there.
um, there, the John story's NYSRA versus, and there's a new name to it. It's the Supreme Court case.
Yes, it's Nyserpa versus Bruin, I think is the name.
Okay, it's the case that the oral arguments are coming up in about a month, November 3rd. I think the oral arguments are, and it's the case where it's the May issue challenge for New York State is what's going on, and
No, go ahead.
um, I really believe what's going to come out of this case when it comes through is what I'm hoping and what I honestly believe is going to happen is that because this is Supreme Court, there is no appeal after this. This is once and for all. This is for all the nation. This is for all the marbles. Everybody is going to become shall issue once this goes through. It, that or it's going to be so extremely narrowly tailored that it'll be New York will be shall issue. I don't believe that's going to happen.
Yeah, let's not. I mean, states where they do put restrictions, not just may issue states, but, I know John's from New Jersey. Hardly anyone can get a carry permit in New Jersey. And it doesn't matter how good your background check is and all the hoops that you jump through, it's just darn near impossible. And it would be great to have some equal protection under the Constitution for everyone to be able to apply for a license and get it.
Absolutely. And this is just step one. I honestly, this is a long slope. We started back in the 1930s losing our rights. And we're not going to get back our rights with this one case. This is one case in a long string of cases. Eventually, I believe, through court decisions, a lot of them will be coming through my boss and through the SAF. But we'll get there where we have national constitutional carry. The way we're going to get there is through court cases, is how I believe.
It is, and it is. Unfortunately, it's going to be a slow process, and it's going to be an expensive process. So, if anyone that's listening to this and watching this is not a member of the Second Amendment Foundation, they definitely need to do that. And I don't want to be someone to bash on the NRA, but the Second Amendment Foundation is the one that's fighting the legal battles behind the scenes. And as I've said before, the NRA kind of takes the arrows from the anti-gun folks, while the SAF can get things done.
Yeah, we've got, at last count, and I've been watching the comments, and my audio, I hope, is back up to where it should be. We have currently, well, let me back up. As of, and I don't have my notes in front of me, as of the board meeting for the SAF, we had, I want to say, 48 federal lawsuits in process, and more have been filed since then, including a few even this week that have come. We've got one that I want to talk about that dropped a few days ago, where, again, in New York, we filed to make it so that tasers and pepper spray are allowed in New York. Now, in your home state of Massachusetts, tasers are covered by the Second Amendment, but AR-15s aren't. Is that what you were telling me, Charlie?
Yes, a couple years ago, there was a taser case where I think it was the Supreme Court of Massachusetts decided that tasers were part of the Second Amendment, as they can be used for self-defense, which I thought was really funny, because when the anti-gun folks talk about how, well, the founding fathers could never have imagined, AR-15s and weapons of war and blah, 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 blah. Okay, they didn't have electricity. But yet a taser, something that runs off of a battery, which they didn't have back then, falls under the Second Amendment. But we still have restrictions on our Second Amendment as far as ARs are, and as far as ARs go, which is complete ridiculous.
I want to get in. John Petrolino made a few comments. I want to get some in here real quick. I'm trying to find where or we lose the union tyranny. I think we're going to win, but I did see a League of Their Own. I don't know what Madonna's got to do with this.
Hopefully Rosie O'Donnell has nothing to do with it as well.
I'm telling you, man. I just... yeah, and what's unique with Bruin, it was NRA and NYS RPA from day one, yeah. And then he goes, Catiano versus Massachusetts shotgun taser case with SCOTUS. Petrolino, dude, we need, once you get off the boat and get onto shore, we need to get you on the air here, dude.
He is the legislative guy, man. He loves all this stuff.
I'm telling you. So, and then, goodness. The other thing I wanted to mention here, and I kind of just seen this on passing as I was starting to do some research for the show today. Not that it's got anything really to do with guns directly. Biden, his approval rating is all the way up to 38%. I mean,
woo-hoo!
It's
38%. That's got to be
with him,
right. That's got to be what it is. I mean, 81 million votes. That's got to be 38%, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Joe Biden. Let's go, Brandon. I like, holy moly. I did see a meme in the last couple of days that says the fact that the media is coming up, the lady, you're hearing the chant in the background, and the news reporter says, oh, yeah, they're shouting, let's go, Brandon, is just the perfect icing to show us that the media is lying about everything.
Oh yeah, they are so deep into the pockets of the Democratic Party. I mean, and not even so much Democratic Party. They're so deep into the liberal agenda that
Yeah.
yeah. Where we got Warsaw Patriot asks, I gotta ask, why did the Supreme Court dismiss 3 important 2A cases? I know they didn't. They didn't. They declined to hear one that was about the felons getting their right to keep and bear arms back. I know they didn't hear that one. I don't know about the other two.
You know what? I watched a video that Jared from Guns and Gadgets did on that today. I watched it this morning, and I forgot about what it was. I don't know if it's long-term memory or short-term memory, but it was earlier today, and I forgot about it.
Yeah, he apparently Warsaw Patriot saw the same one. And then
There we go. Guns and Gadgets did a video on it.
Petrolina says, we'll chat. Life's complicated now. I'm going to be really worried if he puts that up as his relationship status on Facebook.
Oh man, I think he's. I'm not sure where John's at. We need. Remember that game? Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego?
Mm-hmm.
We need that for John Petrolino. Where in the world is John Petrolino?
He's on a boat somewhere. That's for that I can just about guarantee you.
Yeah, he's living the life of Jimmy Buffett. That's what he's doing. Okay.
There you go. So let's see what else. What else has been? I mean, we haven't done a bit. Part of this is, folks, I am a little rusty. It's been 10 days since I broadcast. I'm a little bit rusty, and I spent most of the day today. The last 2 days I spent driving back from Texas, and all of today I spent rebuilding my studio. This was a bare room this morning. There was no technology in this room whatsoever at 9 a.m. when I walked in here to start rebuilding this. I put 2 computers, mixer, monitors, all the equipment, and got everything to talk together and to get everything running. So
I got to see a little bit of how the sausage is made, and when you were down, I helped you break everything down after Amm-Con. You've got 4 different monitors. You've got this big computer that's about the size of my car, and then you got cables to go with everything. There is so much stuff that you lug around, and I can't believe you guys put it in your car.
Well, yeah, it all fits, and it's not the 4 monitors. I mean, I've got one for the comments and to stream to watch the streams, the quality of the streams. One is for just the broadcast, controlling that. The other one I watch my audio quality and all that, and one is to see what's going on broadcast. The second computer is for when I do Amanda's show. I bring her audio in off that, and I test audio pre-show for that with the other computer. But yeah, the size of the computer is just because you need pretty high horsepower to do the streaming. So,
Sure. It's a lot of stuff you got there.
Yeah, let me see what. Pete over at Gun Websites. Will there be an after-action review of the results and consequences of Amm-Con? What worked, what didn't? Gather feedback, etc. Well, Pete, just like we do every year, we put out requests for feedback, and we're going to gather those and we're going to go over those and see what worked and what didn't, and we will adjust as we do every year. I will tell you, there are going to be changes for Amm-Con next year. I do not know exactly what form Amm-Con will take, other than I do know we're looking at possibly some very big names and a very different look to Amm-Con. We'll see. I don't have a lot of things I can say other than it wouldn't just be people in the gun community that would know these names. It would be people that, I don't know, if you went to your next door neighbor and knocked on the door and say, "Hey, do you know who XY is?" And they'd say, "Oh yeah, that I know who that is." Those would be people that would be presenting at Amm-Con. So,
Wow, that's a cool teaser.
yeah. And do I know where it's going to be? I have a strong feeling it will probably be. It'll be in the center of the country. I will guarantee that. If there is a GRPC in person, I'll tell you it'll be back to a one-day thing, and it'll be Friday before GRPC, wherever GRPC is at. I'll tell you it'll be in the center of the country, because if there is a GRPC, GRPC will be in the center of the country. And that's about all I know. That's about all.
You know, I know some of us have had a chance to get together this year at the Florida Carry event and at the Mag 40 class and some other things. It really is great to get together with people and to hang out in person and have that personal connection, not just some connection online, but it's to have a personal connection, to sit down with people and break bread with them and hang out with them and talk with them and hear them tell stories in person. And to me, that is one of the things that I really love about the folks that we have, and when we do get together and hang out in person.
I tell you what, man, it's both scary and because I'm. This is. I try to keep this show just about Second Amendment, but I try to also open up a little bit about my personal life. Everybody knows I've had health challenges. I've had a stroke. I've had a heart attack. My health is not the greatest, and I've got some health risks. So COVID scares the hell out of me, and I know people think that there are people, including some in the audience, that think COVID's just a big scare tactic. Well, if I were to get it, that could be a death sentence for me with some of my pre-existing conditions. If you've got pre-existing conditions and you get COVID, man, you've got issues. So it was scary for me to do this, but we did it, and I took precautions. I went through a lot of hand sanitizer, and I washed my hands a lot. And I didn't shake a whole lot of hands, but I did do some shaking hands. But when we did the Mag 40, when we did the Amm-Con, and when we did the Florida Carry event, the networking is the single best thing that happened out of all three of those things. The getting together, the what are you doing, what's working for you, let's get together and do this, what's happening. That is the best thing that happens out of those things.
Yeah, it's great. I know I had to miss some of Saturday because I had some shows that I needed to film, but I've got to go back and I've got to check out some of the things, some of the speeches that people did, because I know they were talking about them at dinner, and I'm like, I missed that. I'm like, I missed that too. So I got to go back and play some catch up, because there were some really great speakers there with lots of great information.
And Brent, man, we miss having you out there hanging with us. Brent, by the way, Brent is one of my tech people that comes and helps me when I broadcast Gun Rights Policy Conference when they do it live.
Yeah, Brent's awesome. He's a lot of fun.
And John Petrolino says, my people. John was one of the people. He wasn't able to be there in person, but he was able to film a presentation for GRPs, or for
For Amm-Con.
For Amm-Con, yeah. So let's see, we're running at about 20 minutes. Anything else going in the news we need to be talking about, man?
Um, there was something that happened today, and I know it's developing, but there was a shooting in Texas at a school in Arlington, Texas. It sounds like there were 4 people that were injured. The 18-year-old, who was the potential murderer is not the right word.
Attempted?
What's the right phrase? Attempted murderer. There we go. I think we should start using attempted murderer instead of the shooter, because you and I are shooters, and all of our people that are watching this are shooters because we like to shoot.
I would say I'm a mass shooter because I shoot a lot.
Well, okay. Let's be careful there. But the attempted murderer had it says he had a .45 caliber handgun, and there was a couple of teenagers, a male and a female, that were both wounded. A male, 25-year-old male, and an adult pregnant female was treated and released at the scene. I'm not 100% sure what the laws in Texas are as far as people under 21 purchasing or carrying handguns, but I do believe it is federally prohibited for someone under 21 to purchase a handgun. So it's not possible that an 18-year-old could walk into a gun store and buy a handgun. So however he got it was probably illegal and probably not the proper outlet that someone would take to get a gun. It could have just been that he broke into his father's firearm cabinet if his dad had a gun cabinet or a gun safe, but he didn't go buy it at the store himself.
Absolutely. Brent thinks that you're trying to take his job, Charlie.
Listen, Paul says, I'm standing there. I'm like, okay, give us something to do. And Susan's like, move this, lift this up. And it was great. You're like, this computer is a month's rent. It's a month's salary. I'm like, I make the least. I'll carry it.
Pete over at Gum Websites wants to know, how many interviews did you get last weekend, Charlie?
Oh, that's a great question, Pete. Thanks, man. I got 3 interviews. I did not get to the USCCA, which I was hoping to do, but on late Saturday morning, I interviewed Amy Lucas, who's from Steel and Stilettos in the Detroit area, and she is a USCCA instructor, and she was at the USCCA event, and she came over from Fort Worth to Dallas, to Irving, Texas, actually, I guess, and she hopped in the car, and I interviewed her, and then she went back to the USCCA. Then I interviewed Ashley Lubinsky, the historian, and I got to tell you, that was so much fun because I get her in the car, and I'm like, okay, you're a historian, guess where we're going? We're going to Dealey Plaza, and we're going to talk about the Kennedy assassination. And she's like, I really don't know much about the conspiracy theories. I'm like, I think I know enough for both of us. So she was telling me that at the time, she said she's only seen a picture of the Carcano rifle, but she said she's heard that the National Archives have it, and she says that she thinks that they lost it. And we did talk about, or she did tell us that at the same time, the CIA was trying to get Martin Luther King to commit suicide, which I thought was kind of interesting.
Oh.
And yeah, and then from there we kind of went into, did what kind of role did Sinatra have in the Kennedy assassination and the mob in Chicago, and stories about Bobby and Jackie and Marilyn Monroe's suicide, and
yes, we really
all
did
sorts of
land
really
on
good
the
stuff.
moon, okay. I mean,
all good stuff, man. And then the last person I got to interview was Jara Hutchins. And I got to tell you, Tony Simon has said before that he loves Jara Hutchins, and I think I do too. She is so awesome. She has so much stuff going on, and everything she's doing is kick-ass.
Very cool. Ravenwolf says, Paul, we would love to meet you and as many of your guests as possible somewhere for a big benefit, maybe a nice display of old famous firearm collection with guns from around the world, as well as highly collectibles. That sounds fun. That really does sound fun. That would I don't know about the firearm display, but I can tell you that what what to look for is when the SAF does either gun rights policy conference, or there could be another form of that happens, and when I know about it for sure, you'll know about it. When it can be publicly made known, when I know about it, you'll know about it. But the other thing to keep in, if Amm-Con 2022 happens, Charlie, if Amm-Con 2022 happens, I'm thinking you're going to be there.
I'm going for sure.
But gun rights policy conference or the replacement thereof, there will be times when we all get together again. I just don't know about firearm collections with guns. The only collection I could bring is my personal collection, and although there are several guns, I don't know if there are any noteworthy other than, hey, this jerk in South Dakota owns them. That's
you have a silver Glock revolver, don't you?
well, that was alleged at one time, yes.
That's a collection piece for sure.
And straight to Warsaw Patriot, I know you're commenting on YouTube, but because I don't want to get banned on Facebook, I'm not going to comment about Facebook. So, sorry, dude, I'm not gonna risk a ban on Facebook by that. So, anyway, William Reese, and he says, with what you were the words you were trying to search for, Charlie, was alleged shooter. Yeah.
Yes, the alleged shooter. I'm going to go with alleged murderer, because if he's shooting people, he's trying to murder them.
Yes. Yes.
That's what I like to go with, because again, alleged is the word I was looking for. But I say, listen, these are alleged murderers. They're shooting people. If shooting people kills them.
If
an attempted murder, maybe.
Yes, if you're firing at people, you are attempting to kill them. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I mean, unless you shoot them in the knee.
Well, there are arteries that run down the legs that you go through those arteries. You have a really good chance of doing the job.
Of not living for long. I like one of my friends put up a picture of the Dalai Lama, and I love all the Dalai Lama gun memes. But the one that I think I love the most is the one with the Dalai Lama saying, "Yes, you do have the rest of your life to find the sights."
All right. You know what? It's we're at 29 after, Charlie. We've burned up the show, man.
Awesome.
So I think we're going to put this to bed, and everybody. Charlie came in really short notice on this one. Danton Waz is a little under the weather today. He's my normal Wednesday person. I called up Charlie a couple hours ago and said, "Hey, can you do this today?" And Charlie says, "Yeah, sure." So really short notice, and he stepped up.
Happy to, man. It's great to be on, and it's great to have you back. Getting the daily bullets going.
Very cool. Well, thanks again, Charlie. Everybody, thanks for watching, and come back and join us tomorrow, 5 p.m. Central Time, the only time zone that matters. We'll join you again for another Daily Bullet. Thanks for watching, everybody.